Are you weight training over 50? You're just getting started with it and you're wondering, what exercises should I do? Which ones should I avoid? What is going to get the best results? Well, stay tuned because that's exactly what we're going through today. We're going to talk about the 3 exercises you should avoid when starting weight training over 50, and we're going to go over what to do instead. I'm Alicia Jones from Alicia Jones Healthy Living, and for over 15 years, I've helped transform the health and lives of women over 50 through fitness and weight loss strategies. And weight training really is the best thing you can do to enhance your quality of life, increase your strength, and increase lean muscle without bulking up so you can rev up your metabolic rate. But not all exercises are created equally. In fact, there are exercise prescriptions for blood pressure, for heart conditions, for osteoporosis, for weight loss in specific. Point is that exercise prescriptions change depending on you, your body, and your lifestyle. So if you're really uncertain about what you should be doing, then don't hesitate to get in contact with me. Together we will do a free strategy call and we will figure out exactly what your body needs and the game plan that can help get you to the next level. Okay, so without further ado, here are the 3 exercises you should definitely avoid when first starting weight training and what to do instead. Exercise number 1 is the forward lunge or a moving lunge. This is a movement where you literally take a huge giant step forward and bend your knees as much as you can. And while this exercise over time is a fabulous exercise, it literally mimics walking in an exaggerated form. So it can really strengthen the muscles and make walking feel easy. If at first you haven't learned how to connect your mind to muscle, how to work the small stabilizer muscles in the body, you end up creating knee injury or back injury. You'll know this is happening to you because when you take a forward lunge step, you start to feel pressure in the knee. Maybe you even lift your heel up, so you're putting a lot of pressure on the front of your foot. Your back arches, so you feel low back pain, or you're leaning way forward and you lose your balance. All of these are big signs that you are just not quite ready to be doing a forward lunge yet. See, with the lunge, there are a lot of different muscles that are all working at the same time. And then you're asking to create movement. And usually in a lot of these workout videos, it's fast movement that you're doing. The faster the motion is, the harder it is to maintain form. Quad dominance happens a lot. So you start to feel a lot of pain in the front of your leg when you're doing these forward lunges, but you don't feel anything in the bottom or the back of the leg. That's another sign that the motion is quad dominant or hip flexor dominant. That is the front of your hips. They tend to get very, very tight. So when you're taking a step forward, the back leg feels this huge stretch and there's an arch in the back to maintain form. That's because with the sitting, those muscles tighten up. Tight muscles do not mean strong muscles. You can have a tight and weak muscle, and that creates a lot of tension and rigidity in the muscle. You reduce your mobility, and it can create muscle tears and ligament tears, and that's the last thing you want. Couple this with something that us fabulous ladies have called a Q angle. Anatomically, we have wider hips, but our femur or the leg bone still attaches in, just like men, to the side of the hip socket or to the hip socket where the connection of the ball and socket joint is. What happens is that our leg muscles tend to come in more. So when we take a step, if we haven't learned how to strengthen the outer and inner parts of the knee, our knee tends to cave in when we're taking lunges. Again, you'll feel knee pain, or when you take a look down with doing a moving lunge, you'll notice your knee is caving inwards towards the midline of your body. Another clear sign that the moving lunge is just not time yet. So then what do you do instead? Well, the whole point is that you start to train muscles that have turned off to work, and you start to balance out weak muscles with the stronger ones. So the first thing you'll want to do is take out the movement. Focus only on form and focus in on keeping your knees in alignment, pushing with your heels and using your bottom and the back of your legs that tend to get weaker. Instead of doing a lunge, you can do all of this by doing a squat where your 2 feet are planted on the ground and you don't move. You focus on your knee form. You focus on the strength in your legs. Push with your heels and make sure your core is strong. Exercise number 2 is the wide push-up. I'm not saying push-ups are bad. In fact, push-ups are a powerful and wonderful exercise to eventually give you shoulder stability, core strength, and full body muscle activation. Here's the issue. After years of driving, after years of computer work, years of holding kids, and, well, improper posture, looking at the phones even, your shoulders have ended up tightening and rolling forward, usually creating shoulder misalignment. Your upper back tends to arch. Something called kyphosis starts to happen where that back starts to arch, and you lose a lot of the strength in your back muscles. You lose the stability in your shoulders. Not to mention, with all that typing and with that driving, the wrists get really tight as well. As a side note as well, with stress, we hold our tension in our upper traps, in our shoulders or upper traps. And so what ends up happening is, little by little, instead of doing movements down here, we do movements up here. Besides all of that tension in the neck, there's something else that's really important. The shoulder that needs to be stable is also getting less blood flow because as estrogen levels decline, it shifts your blood flow levels. It shifts how your cartilage and how your tendons repair. So the most powerful thing you can do is start to train those low trap muscles. I like to call them the underbra muscles. These are the muscles that take shoulders from up here to down here, pulling you back, pulling you taller, and creating alignment in the shoulder. You'll know without even looking in a mirror if you're doing the push-ups inaccurately. If one, you feel tension in your upper neck and shoulders while you're doing the exercise or after you're done. You feel it in the wrists a lot. And you might even find that you have to move your hands out or in to feel okay in both the wrists and the elbows. You might also feel it in your back because as you try and arch up or hold your back in this circle rounded position, you indirectly pull your low back out of alignment and your abs stop working. It basically means you're creating a low back injury. So what do you do instead? Well, you're still going to do a push-up, but we're going to switch the type of push-up you do to one that actually stabilizes the shoulder. Instead of doing this motion, you're going to bring your elbows in, roll your shoulders back and down, and do a tricep push-up instead. What's so wonderful about the tricep push-up is one area, especially when weight training over 50, that a lot of my clients say they want to work is the underarm, the under part of the arm. When you do a tricep push-up, you are working this part of the arm more than any push-up can do. So not only are you creating shoulder stability, but you're also toning the back of your arms and indirectly toning the chest area in a way that is safe and effective. You're starting to train the muscles that should work to turn on, and you're starting to train the muscles that are overworked to relax. The last exercise I beg of you to swap out are the low leg raises. We're talking about the low ab exercise where you sway your legs up and down, up and down. Oh gosh, there's so many things wrong with this. If you have the core strength and the back strength and the pelvic core strength to do these exercises while remaining in what is known as a neutral spine, so your back isn't flat and it's not arched, it's a natural S-curve, then it may have some great results. The thing is, I have yet to see somebody who is just starting out have this level of control over their abs. What happens when you do low leg raises in general is twofold. One, you're working the front of the leg again, the hip flexor. And this is that same area we spoke about in exercise 1, the lunges, that gets overly tight from sitting a lot. So people tend to say that they feel that the front of their hips are feeling tight when they're doing these leg raises. They also say that they feel it in the low back. Well, guess why? Because those hip flexor muscles are actually attached. They round up in the front of the leg and go all the way and attach to your L4, L5 part of the spine. What that means is that every time you're pulling your leg down, you're tightening up those hip flexor muscles and you're pulling your low back up towards the sky. That is a lot of force. Also, I don't know if you knew this, but low ab leg raises, they actually only work the outer shell of your abs. These are called the rectus abdominis. That's the outer core of the abs. These are the abs that if they are the only ones worked, and you haven't worked those internal ab muscles that pull in your stomach and create a flat stomach, then what you're inadvertently doing is creating a pooched out stomach. And I think that's the opposite of what you're hoping for. Am I right? You'll know that you're doing this because you either feel pain during this exercise in your low back, in the front of your hips, maybe even down the front of your legs, your quad muscles, or you're pooching out your stomach. So no matter how much you're trying to suck it in, trying to force some strength in the stomach, you're still pooching out. There's one more big reason that you want to eliminate all of those leg raises, especially if you've had kids in the past and you're weight training over 50. And that's because it doesn't work the pelvic floor muscles. These are the muscles that when strong, hold bladder control, and when weak, they create leaks. Once you've had kids, the pelvic floor can become weak. What many don't know is you can strengthen that area still. You can make it stronger. But because this is not really talked about that often, many don't even know that they have that ability, or they only do an exercise called Kegels, and that's just not the only way to get strength there. In fact, you could over strengthen things a little bit with the Kegel. Then you couple on top of that being over 50, having lower estrogen levels, and with lower estrogen levels, things become weaker again. There's a loss of elasticity. So it is so important to work the pelvic floor. You'll know that this is happening with you, that you need to work your pelvic floor if jumping is no longer a possibility because it creates leaks. Maybe a sneeze or a cough does the same thing, or going from sitting to standing. If this sounds like you, it's definitely time to get rid of those low leg raises. Instead, you're going to work on pelvic floor exercises and work on an exercise called dead bug. Dead bug incorporates pelvic floor exercises, so learning how to flatten your back and then relax your back, keeping your pelvis tight and strong, working those internal ab muscles, and then slowly lifting one leg off of the ground, followed by the other. And if at first you're noticing that you arch your back or you flatten your back with the movements, that's another sign of weakness. So you're going to pull it back and make sure you always have contact with the ground. One heel is always in contact with the ground before switching legs. So just to recap, get rid of moving lunges and do squats instead. Get rid of wide push-ups, give your shoulders that stability and do close tricep push-ups instead. And last but not least, get rid of those low leg raises. Instead of doing those low ab, low leg raises, do some pelvic floor work and some dead bug exercises that not only help you become leak-free, but at the same time strengthen and tone the lower abs. And if you want some more starters exercises and a starters plan for strength training and slimming down, then join my 7-day starters strength training and slim down challenge. It's free. Okay, I will see you guys next time for more motivational fitness and nutrition tips to make your 50s and beyond the healthiest and most vibrant years of your life. Visit AliciaJonesHealthyLiving.com. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel.